Welcome to the Explainer. Okay, imagine for a second that we gathered some of history's greatest minds in one room. And psychologist Carol Dweck poses a single question. Why does failure absolutely crush some people, while for others, it's the very thing that helps them grow? That's what we're diving into today. So let's start with a feeling I think we all know. When we fail, it's not just that something went wrong. It feels like that failure is saying something deep and personal about us, about who we are. You know that sting of being wrong? But not just wrong. Wrong in front of everybody. That feeling of being exposed. It can be just brutal. Or how about that specific kind of pain when a door slams shut on something you wanted with your whole heart? Yeah, it feels personal, because it is personal. And this gets us to Dweck's crucial point. The real damage, the real pain, starts the moment this attempt didn't work out turns into, I am a failure. That's the dangerous leap, when an event becomes your identity.
So why does that happen? What causes that shift? Well, Dweck's amazing research points to this powerful tension between two really different ways of seeing the world, two core mindsets.
And really, it all boils down to this. If you're in a fixed mindset, any struggle feels like proof that you've hit your limit, that you're just not good enough. But with a growth mindset, that very same struggle is seen as the path to getting better. It's not a final verdict. It's just part of the workout. Now, this is where shame comes into the picture. As researcher Brené Brown would tell our imaginary summit, shame is the poison. It's what takes a single mistake and turns it into an identity. It's that voice whispering, you're a fraud. And like she says, the moment shame takes over, learning just stops. It silences you. And this leads to a trap that psychologist Martin Seligman talks about. We get stuck in this really destructive way of explaining failure to ourselves. We make it personal. This is all my fault. We make it permanent. It's always going to be this way. And we make it pervasive. This failure ruins everything. Okay, now here's something that sounds a little backwards, but it is so important. How is it that something positive, like being praised for your talent, can actually make you more afraid of failing? Well, Dweck's research found that when you're always told, oh, you're a natural or you're so gifted, you start to believe that things are supposed to come easily. And if they don't, well, then you start to question if you were ever gifted at all. And that right there is the trap. As grit expert Angela Duckworth would say, suddenly, hard work doesn't feel like part of the process anymore. It starts to feel like a threat. It feels like evidence that your gifted label was a lie from the start. So what do we lose when we care more about looking talented than actually being disciplined? Well, we lose everything that leads to real skill. We lose our teachability, the freedom to try and fail, the endurance to push through hard things, and ultimately our own usefulness. Okay, so if that's the trap, how do you get out? What does real, authentic growth actually look like? In the real world, not just on a motivational poster. First thing to know is that real growth is usually pretty quiet. It's not some massive, dramatic aha moment. It's much more about the small, consistent, almost boring changes you make in your everyday habits. And you can actually see the signs when it's happening. Your values stop being just words and they become how you actually live. You stop reacting emotionally and you start responding thoughtfully. Getting corrected doesn't feel like an insult anymore. It just feels like direction. And you learn to persevere without making a big drama out of it. And hey, this is not a new idea. The philosopher Aristotle was talking about this ages ago. He said excellence comes from repeated actions, from practice day in and day out until it literally shapes who you are. And here's the ultimate test. The clearest sign that you've truly shifted your mindset is when a big challenge no longer feels threatening to your ego. Instead, it feels energizing. It's an invitation to get engaged, to learn, and to really level up your skills. Which brings us to this final, really powerful choice that's at the absolute core of Carol Dweck's work. It's a choice every single one of us has to make after every setback. So in the end, it's not the event itself that defines you. It's the story you choose to tell yourself about it. A setback can be a life sentence, a final verdict on who you are. Or it can be instruction. It can be a lesson. So the question is, the next time you fail, what's it going to be? Your sentence or your instruction? The choice is always yours.